Hi everyone, in this series of tutorials I'm going to take you through how to create the third and final look in the Bird by Gully music video. So the intent with this sort of on-stage performance look was to replicate some of the 1940s glamour photography that you see of either singers or sort of Hollywood movie stars. And the particular element that I sort of wanted to take from that type of photography was the very soft highlight on the side of a singer's or actor's face. So basically this look is just comprised of two nodes, the first node for primary color correction and then the second node doing some secondary color correction using power windows and the qualifier. But what I also wanted to do with this set of tutorials was take a look at the difference between local and remote versions of grades. And the concept of using versions in DaVinci Resolve is sort of at the core of how the program works. And so if you're not familiar with the concept of local and remote versions, I think that that tutorial will be particularly helpful to you and your color grading. So just like always, I'm going to go into my project settings and I'm going to set up my project. Under master project settings, I'm going to change my timeline resolution to customized. And I'm going to set it to 1280 by 545. I switch my color science to ACES. And in lookup tables, I need my input device transform to be Cinema DNG and my output device transform to be Rec 709. And then in image scaling, I'm just going to set the input scaling preset to center crop with no resizing and hit apply. I'm going to close that out. And now I'm ready to use my first node for my primary color correction. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here on my image. And I had a couple of questions about the difference between using the color wheels versus the primaries panel. And essentially, this is just two different ways of looking at the same information. So the lift, gamut, and gain here in the primaries panel corresponds with the lift, gamut, and gain here in the color wheels. So the reason I use one over the other, generally I use the primaries panel because I'm not using a control surface. And this panel gives me more finite control over the individual settings, so it's very easy to make very specific incremental adjustments. Sometimes with the color wheels, you know, if you're trying to make small adjustments here, you'll find that you're changing things more than you want to be changing them, and it can be difficult to sort of obtain the result that you're looking for. Now, I do use the color wheels pretty often when I'm trying to figure out or set up a look just to try things out because it's a pretty quick way to just move things around. But when I'm trying to replicate a look, as I often am in these tutorials, I generally go towards the primaries because I know the sort of look that I'm going for and I have a sense of what the value should be to achieve that look. So the first thing I'm going to do is set my gain. And then I'm going to set my lift. And again, because I've already created this look, I know what the value should be down here. So I'm just going to adjust the values to match the look that I'm going for. And then I'm going to adjust my gamma. And now I'm going to switch over to my color wheels and I'm going to switch into sort of the log color correction because I want to make some adjustments to the contrast, and I also want to bring just the shadows down a little bit in this image. And you can see that once I've done that, I've sort of been able to remove the curtain that was just barely visible in the background. So now we just are really focusing in on our singer's face in the microphone. The next thing I want to do is I want to go over here to my RGB mixer panel. And this is actually what I'm going to use to sort of set the color balance for my image. And the reason I'm going to use this is because I know I just want to take a bunch of the red out of the image. And these sliders will give me sort of an easy way to do that. So I'm just going to adjust my red output. And then I'm also going to make some adjustments over here to my blue output. I also want to add some sharpening in here to my primary color correction. So I'm just going to switch over to the blur panel, and to add sharpening, you actually just pull down on the blur slider. So I'm going to bring that down to about 45, and that will add some sharpening into my image. And that completes my primary color correction. The next thing I want to do is use the qualifier and a power window to isolate some areas of my image and move into some secondary color correction. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do in the next tutorial.